just the more that you think about like fix the money, fix the world, and you actually learn more about Bitcoin by studying the legacy world than you do by just like diving into the details of Bitcoin and just understanding the fact that you can do something so positive for yourself personally and so positive for the greater society also. There's nothing else in the world that I've been able to come across where you can just completely achieve both of those things at the exact same time with such direct focus.
Welcome to Bitcoin Basics with your hosts Faris and Gordon. Visit bitcoinbasics.help if you need help buying and securing your Bitcoin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bitcoin Basics podcast. I am your host, Faris, here with Gordon. It is the 6th or 7th of August, depending on where you are in the world. The price of Bitcoin is 42,280. The block height is 694,503. And Gordon, we had a special guest today. Why don't you tell us about that and what you thought of the conversation we had just had?
Hi, Faris. Hi, everyone. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We interviewed Brian Harrington 15 months ago. And by the way, I will link that episode and everything that we talk about in this interview in the show notes, as usual, in the description. But yeah, I mean, Brian's fantastic. He's got such a passion and he is so enthusiastic. And yeah, he's got a lot of projects on the go and a lot's been happening in the world in the last 15 months since we interviewed him. But yeah, without spoiling it, Faris, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Brian's insights, very honest, direct, straight to the point. And yeah, we didn't get too sidetracked with political stuff. So I was surprised that we didn't go down any rabbit holes.
Yeah, so was I. We must be maturing.
No. So without further ado, here is Brian Harrington.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, and share so we can find others like yourself.
Hi, everyone. It's great to have Brian back. Now, Brian, you've been up to a few new things since you started. Kingdom Trust and the Choice app you've got mentioning as well. Why don't you tell us about those a little bit?
Yep. Yeah. So I think we last talked a year at least ago, and I was doing the BTC Pay server consulting stuff. And yeah, accepted a new gig working for Choice app by Kingdom Trust. And we specialize in the US retirement market. And so we're helping people pull their funds out of the legacy world, out of the legacy custodians, and put it into Bitcoin. So we're the fastest, simplest way to set up what's called a self-directed IRA, that you have a wider range of investment options still within the tax-advantaged retirement account.
Yeah, self-directed IRA, and that's something that Gordon, having lived in Australia, is huge, called superannuation over there. Is that something that, because I did see on the Kingdom Trust website, you do work with people overseas. So at this stage, it is available to overseas residents?
It's very US only right now. We're open to US residents that they have proof of US income. But that's the line that my understanding is on the Choice app right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the Choice app, yeah, only available to US citizens at the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And how fast? Sorry, go ahead.
Kingdom Trust has a long history of working with lots of alternative assets. And so what I've been brought on to do is kind of work on doing the product marketing for Choice app, which is their Bitcoin, crypto, and kind of stock offering. And we're working on our iOS rollout right now. And so there definitely is kind of larger knowledge within Kingdom Trust that I am not super ramped up on. But I love that we have that depth when you are, talking to our team, that they can talk about real estate, talk about metals, talk about a lot of things to you.
Oh, yeah, I had a look at the website, and we'll put in a link for people to go to. It's very comprehensive what they're going through. The numbers are actually very impressive as well. When you guys rolled out, or when Kingdom Trust rolled out and offered Bitcoin and crypto, how was the how were the numbers? Was it more than you expected, less than you expected, as far as people getting involved?
Definitely more. And so I would go medium on it. Definitely more than expected, but then also there still is a little bit of a gap of just relaying this information to everyone. Because again, around self-directed IRAs, there's still a lot of jargon and a lot of information about some people do it this way, other people do it this way. And so even in my own experience, looking at Choice App and Kingdom Trust before joining the team, I even personally, and I'm super like open to admitting it, I was still in that boat of just, I don't hate the idea, but no one's been like, this is the path. So that was exactly where I was stuck. And so I do still believe that there are a lot of people that are adopting Bitcoin and moving onto the personal Bitcoin standard and have already been stacking in a lot of other ways that still have not taken full advantage of retirement accounts that they may still have in the legacy world. And so adoption's positive, but I do believe there still is a little bit of an information gap, which we're tackling.
So, Brian, you mentioned a dirty word. That's crypto.
Yep.
Can you put 100% of your IRA into Ripple and Dogecoin?
Let me see. I don't have our full list of crypto memorized off the top of my head. So I don't know. I should have that list memorized, but I do not have that list memorized.
Yeah, if Gordon's awake, please don't take him seriously.
It's a trick question because you don't need to worry about anything besides Bitcoin.
It's a great question. It's a great question. It's a great question. The reason why it's a great question is because I do like how I think it's good that places are starting to say Bitcoin and crypto. And I've noticed this on the front of Kraken's website. I've noticed this in tweets across the board. And I've noticed this on just how I'm like talking to people at meetups every day and being able to just relax that person to be like, look, there's Bitcoin and crypto does put their mind at ease and does kind of just put them in a better place of like, look, just learn this and then tackle everything else. So yeah, there is multiple. We work with Kraken and CoinShares as the exchange. But yeah, in all my conversations, I'm still super myself and like very public about me personally. I'm 100% Bitcoin.
Yeah, we can agree more. We actually recently just responded to that article by the IMF where they said cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. We're like, well, there is no cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. It's the only one. So,
right. Totally.
You mentioned a knowledge gap. What is some of the hurdles, myth busting that you guys still have to do when it comes to new clients coming into this world?
Yeah. I think one that gets a little bit deep in the weeds is that you don't have to have an LLC. And so a lot of other providers, they'll put you right into an LLC and kind of go down this route of kind of checkbook control and making it with a little bit more bells and whistles. And you actually don't need that. Like we've created a very streamlined, you just sign up and it's actually through a trust. And so it's just very more streamlined and straightforward for that. And then the other gap, I think, is just knowing that you can transfer from a legacy custodian. So just knowing that, look, if you have an old job and you had an IRA or a 401k, an old job, and it's still sitting at literally anywhere, Bank of America, Fidelity, Schwab, TD Ameritrade, any of the legacy world, you don't have to like withdraw the cash, take the penalties, and then buy Bitcoin on an exchange, not tax advantage. You're super able to leave it how it is and pull it over. So I would say those are the two gaps of people that have heard their friends have done it and are trying to replicate the way that their friends have done it, but having a tough time of just kind of navigating the kind of DIY steps. And then secondly, just knowing that you are able to transfer out of the legacy world.
So just for our non-US listeners, LLC is limited liability company. And with the IRA funds, you're taxed at a much lower rate. So long as you don't remove them before, was it the age of 64, 65?
Mm-hmm. How that works for Roth IRAs, it's for Roth IRAs, it's 59.5. For traditional IRAs, it's 65.
So long as you don't remove your Bitcoins until you're at that retirement age, then you get taxed at the lower rate.
Yep.
Right. So there is actually an incentive for governments to do this because their concern is that people are getting into Bitcoin and crypto and they're losing tax revenue.
Yeah. So a few things on that. I think real fast on not being able to withdraw until you're 59.5 or 65. Correct for taking it out of the structure. We do also offer the ability to self-custody while still in the account. So I do like to make those distinctions. And so there's three ways that you can custody. We have a little bit of an interest bearing product. We have a institutional custody if you want to pay for that. And we also have the ability for you to hold it in your own wallet. So we do allow you to hold it in your own wallet while still within the structure, which I think is super, super positive. To the second point of exactly what you're saying of whether governments should be in favor or against it, I can see it both ways, can super see it both ways. What I think is positive is it's still just showing Bitcoin is taking ground from the legacy world. And something that I'm focused on talking to a lot of people about is kind of having different stacks of Bitcoin for different things and beginning to budget your Bitcoin in the same way you budget whatever, fiat currency you're already used to kind of just living on day to day. And so thinking of a checking account, thinking of a savings account, thinking of an investment account, because I still am of the opinion that like hyper Bitcoinization is going to move faster than we think. And I do believe we're going to see it relatively in our lifetime where it becomes a unit of account kind of in people's brains more and more, because Bitcoiners are already moving there with their savings accounts. Their savings accounts are already in Bitcoin units. And so getting like checking kind of this like quote unquote checking account and this like investing accounts ramped up to the same level that people are already thinking in just kind of traditional savings, I think will naturally follow. And I think there's lots of transitionary tools that are being developed that are helping people, like live on Bitcoin more. And so for these accounts, when you make Bitcoin the unit of account inside your retirement account, you can actually own other assets that pay you in Bitcoin. Like we just rolled out allowing you to have ASIC miners in your account as well. And we're chomping down a simple path for people to have ASIC miners and have a hosting facility run them for them and then pay their IRA in Bitcoin. And so we know that mechanism of being paid in Bitcoin gets people to move their unit of account faster and faster in their head.
That's super cool, Brian. I actually have a million questions. Can you just go back through how would that work if someone wants to get paid in Bitcoin?
Yeah, so you would open up a Choice App account, and then our mining partner, Compass Mining, you would sign up for the interest list for that. And then we're doing our first batch for those users later on in this year. And so, that's like, we just announced this partnership the other day. And so, you would get on the interest list and then you would begin Compass. For people that are more interested, you can look up Compass Mining. And so they're a company that partners with lots of hosting facilities. And then they're also able to their whole mission is to get regular people access to kind of the bulk pricing and the bulk hosting pricing that big outfits are able to get. And so you're able to buy one miner at a time or two miners at a time and still get that. And so then, all the rewards, if you choose to do this inside your IRA, all the rewards would get paid back to your IRA in Bitcoin.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So if someone was risk averse and they wanted to, we're well past the, Bitcoin's digital Europe or whatever, they wanted to actually put Bitcoin in the IRA and they're risk averse, they can have a self-managed wallet or they can basically, host their own keys. What are you guys providing? You're just providing the regulation and paperwork and administration and reporting?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So we maintain the structure for you and we act as the IRA custodian, and we just have it on paper there. You're using your own wallet and you just let us know once a year, what the value is, and then we handle the reporting for you.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Did you know we provide a help desk at bitcoinbasics.help? Do you need help buying Bitcoin on an exchange or transferring your Satoshis to a Bitcoin wallet? Perhaps you need assistance with setting up a desktop, mobile, or hardware wallet. Is your security hygiene up to date? We provide individual, one-on-one support regardless of your understanding of Bitcoin, size of investment, or level of technical ability. Visit bitcoinbasics.help.
Just going over the other two. So there's self-managed or self-hosted. And then can you tell us about this interest-bearing investment?
Yeah, so it's called InMotion, and it's a institutional lending product managed by CoinShares. And currently, this membership option is a little bit in transition for us currently. So currently what happens is when you put Bitcoin in this product, it just subsidizes the custody fees. And so we give you free custody. And so you're not paying a custody fee. Currently, after our iOS rollout and everything happens, this membership option is going to get reworked to be a lot more similar to kind of the pass-through interest earning products that other exchanges have. And so that'll be rapidly changed over to that. And it's, institutional lending. And then the other one is our partner Fidelity Digital Assets offers just institutional grade custody. And so if you don't want to hold it in your own wallet and you don't want to be using the lending product, then you just hold it straight with them. And that comes with the cost of 1% annually.
That's completely insured. Like if someone goes bankrupt or loses Bitcoin.
So we have the frequently asked questions on the site about more about Fidelity's coverage. I can't quote like Fidelity's insurance policy off the top of my head.
Okay. Cool. I mean, every single person, should be obviously thinking about that, whether you use Brian's service in the US or Australia and the equivalent in the UK and all that sort of stuff.
Totally. And that's totally. And one of the things I say a lot is that I don't know if this is the best wording for it, but it's like the best insurance is that we allow you to mix and match the custody across multiple things. And that would be my just talking as a Bitcoiner across services, no matter what services you're using. I personally enjoy holding Bitcoin in multiple places. And because that's the way my brain works. That's the way my brain works of spreading out the risk and just spreading out the responsibility and spreading out. And it also just serves my personal finances again of I don't hold all my fiat in one place. I'm actively achieving different goals with different things. And so that's already the way I've been thinking about Bitcoin and thinking about just the Bitcoin stack and apps that I'm using.
Yeah, it's really encouraging to hear, Brian, because that's what we recommend people just stacking sats. You don't have to worry about this volatility in the price. And when people say, how much Bitcoin should I buy? My answer is,
as much as you can.
Yeah. What's your time horizon for one?
Yep.
So thinking of those, different time horizons, I've got X Satoshi's Bitcoin for 30, 40-year legacies. And then, what I'm going to pay my bills with tomorrow. Yeah.
Totally.
Tell us about private key management. Is that something you guys still have to explain to people? Do people get it, or do they just don't care? How's that?
Totally.
Where are you in that?
Yeah. So I'll answer this two ways. At Choice, yes, we partner with a multi-sig provider called Casa, and we give everyone a free year of Casa Gold, and they can kind of get help from them on how wallets work and how to do that as part of their onboarding package. At a personal level and at the meetup level, we talk to people our meetup meets every week on Thursdays, and new people come by off the internet and just talk to us. We just meet at a bar here in Orange County, and we talk to everyone about anything. And so meet them where they're at and just be like, look, what services are you using? What wallets are you using? What do you need help with? And take them from zero to wherever they want to go.
I think we said this last time. We're pretty jealous because you guys in the US, you got a lot of cool apps. I think last time you mentioned Cash App, Fold App, and all these other sort of services as well. There's Swan Bitcoin.
We just got Uber.
Well, that's
what'd you get?
We just recently got Uber over here in New Zealand.
Yeah, man.
So what do you?
I agree, man. But that's also why I enjoy talking to you guys and talking to other people. Is just figuring out, what are Bitcoiners doing across the world that they can do. That's why these conversations are super beneficial for me too.
So just piggybacking on what Farah said, we're all about self-custody, being self-sovereign individuals. So what are your best practices, not necessarily for business, but personally as well? What should people be doing right now if they've got more than $1,000 worth of Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think you using their wallets or using a wallet. I think being comfortable with using a Bitcoin wallet and sending Bitcoin transactions is the number one way to kind of just being comfortable with it. And so if you're just only buying off an exchange and doing one withdrawal, to a hardware wallet, and then just kind of it sits in your safe, and you aren't using it, that's not bad. I mean, probably what I would recommend though is having another just mobile wallet on your phone and making transactions and kind of beginning to that then filters into kind of learning the secondary layers. It's learning Lightning or learning Liquid is then naturally where your kind of path will go. And I just think the more knowledge that you consume as far as using it and the amount of transactions you've physically personally sent and watched it, get to where you're intending to go, that'll continue to beef up your skills. Would also practice. The other thing that then you could practice is like learning how to recover a wallet. So again, don't change anything about what you're doing with your I guess your just main stack and your main cold storage way of like thinking about things. But then I wouldn't be afraid to start multiple other wallets. Start a wallet on your phone, start a wallet on your MacBook or your computer or whatever, and then practice going and like inputting that private key of just that one into, Electrum and recovering it and watching, because that's a really eye-opening experience when you recover a wallet for the first time and you kind of realize just the way that the private key works more.
Not just to mention what you just said, Brian, but there's a lot of friction there. There's a lot of people who really don't trust themselves, whether it's technically or operational wise, and they just want to leave it on exchange. Like, what would you say to someone who's like, well, I only have 10,000, I'm just going to leave it on Coinbase or Binance?
So same thing. I would say, like, take a Saturday afternoon, literally take 30 minutes or an hour and just pick whatever, like the whole reason why Gordon and Ferris show up here is like put easy to use wallets on their site. So pick whichever one, works in your jurisdiction, works wherever you are, or, you like the name of the most, and try withdrawing $10. That is like definitely, that's not going to kill like your like plan on the exchange. And it's also not going to wreck like anything. You're just going to learn more about yourself and learn more about Bitcoin.
Yeah, I can agree with you more. And I recently did, back when people could, meet, well, we still can here. I did a, Bitcoin Begins, understanding Bitcoin thing at a pub here. And I asked someone who doesn't believe it. He's a Bitcoin skeptic. And I said, I asked them on their phone, can you just download this app? And then I did a 45-minute presentation about Bitcoin. And then I showed them, I just sent them $10 worth of Bitcoin from my wallet to their wallet. I said, all right, I've just sent you $10 worth of Bitcoin. If you don't believe in Bitcoin, just send it back. And like, no, I think I'll keep it. But for them, just seeing it go from my phone to their phone, and we actually watched it on the blockchain as well, the transaction. People were just like, oh, wow, that's so cool. That aha moment when they see how the inner workings go. It's really cool.
Fully agree.
Bitcoin's slow. What I love doing too. To be using Lightning Network.
No, it's great. Honestly, both are good. That's in those demos. The other thing that I like doing is I like pulling up videos of ASIC miners running and just showing people how loud they are. And I'm like, look how loud this is. This is an industrial thing. This is a thing that is happening. This was a computer science step forward for humanity. All of these machines are running around the world. Look at like just the power of what's happening. And then exactly what you just did, pull up the block explorer. I love like mempool.space right now because just the visual of like watching it go across. And then, so on their phone, hearing how loud it is, mempool is exactly the path.
I haven't done that with the miners. I'm going to actually add that in. That's really cool. Thanks, Brian.
Cool. Well, I actually looked up our last podcast, Brian, and it was May 2020. So more than about 15 months ago. Which was awesome. Brian Harrington of Surplus Bitcoin. Are you still working with them?
Yep. Yeah. So I still have that website up, surplusbitcoin.com. And that was, so last year, last year pretty bummed me out a lot, as it bummed a lot of people out. But last year was really hard on me. And so, but the silver lining was I did use a lot of time just beefing up my own Bitcoin skills. And so learning BTC Pay server and like diving into how the mining works and, was running like an ASIC at my house and like doing all that stuff. Led to just a lot of these different side projects. And so, Surplus Bitcoin is just a lead generation tool that's set up. And then when people send inbounds to them, I just farm them to like other Bitcoin mining companies and try to plug them into getting more info.
Cool. For a small business, and you mentioned BTC Pay Server, would you recommend people set that up for a small business, or how would you recommend they receive Bitcoin?
Yeah, so the most general advice is probably to just start with a mobile wallet. Just start with a mobile wallet, because that way it's low friction and you're using it, and then just try to find one or two people that'll just use it. And just that way it's like you're getting into the groove of it. You're working the muscle memory of it. The staff is getting used to it. The customer is getting used to it. Ideally, you would have a Bitcoin meetup in your town or at your place too, and that would send traffic and people that would just be interested in doing that. And then after a consistent amount of, even if it's just one person once a month doing it, then you can add complexity and add the BTC Pay server as you need it.
That's really good advice, because I mean, we all consume a lot of Bitcoin podcasts and YouTube videos, whatever. And I watch Bitcoiners, and their heart is in the right place, but it's like, you're not a true Bitcoiner unless you've got a Linux server downloaded the blockchain and you're running Tor and you're running Lightning Network and Electrum. And it's like, dude, just calm down. Like, and there are levels, what we talked about before. There's Bitcoin on the exchange, then there's Bitcoin off the exchange. Then there's, getting a hardware wallet. Then there's maybe setting up your full node. And so you sort of level up. So, don't be overwhelmed by all this technical jargon that we talked about. Just get Bitcoin, play with it with a mobile wallet. When you're ready to get more, as you accumulate more Bitcoin, you want to secure it more. And, what are the best practices? So,
totally. And I really believe like understanding the philosophy and understanding just the overall goal and the mission of what Bitcoin is looking to do, that is itself like a reinforcing motivator also. And so if you're having trouble, if you feel disenfranchised with the way you're currently doing Bitcoin, if it's at like a software level, then just try using a different wallet. Keep doing whatever you're doing, but then just try a different service. Because a lot of times what you'll understand is that it's not Bitcoin that's the issue, and it's not even you that has the issue. It's just you haven't found the right service that matches what you're doing yet. And then number two, if you're still just kind of in like, what is the point? Then you just got to study the philosophy and just kind of understand, the mission of what Bitcoin's trying to do for the world.
Oh, absolutely. And there are many plug and play packages out there too, even to run stuff like full nodes and these kind of payment servers and that kind of stuff. But and it's not for everyone. Let's be honest. Not everyone has to run a full node. But if you're interested in this stuff, I mean, I without being arrogant, I'm fairly technical and I've got a background in it. But when I'm installing a full node and I'm setting up Electrum and doing some of that sort of stuff, I'm like, gee, I'm learning a heck of a lot here. And you're learning a lot about Bitcoin too. You're learning about how powerful the philosophy of being able to verify your own transaction is. That's just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, totally. No, when I, last year was the first time I had ever, I'd been in Bitcoin since 2015. And last year, 2020 was the first time I'd ever run get TX outset info on my own hardware. And so there definitely is levels. There definitely takes time, definitely takes a lot of training. And so, but that is super powerful when you do it.
So, Brian, how difficult is it, or how would one go about getting non-KYC Bitcoin in America?
Yeah, the two easiest methods are to use BISC, B-I-S-Q, and then probably secondarily from that is there still are great ATM providers that let you authenticate with just a cell phone number. And so choose whatever cell phone number you'd like to use, and then you are able to get authenticated with just a cell phone number and have certain limits, cash purchases per month. That I think is probably the easiest. Because BISC is still a little tough to use. So
Bitcoin ATMs, where you can purchase Bitcoin and all you need is a cell phone number.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we don't have BISC here, and that's with Bitcoin ATMs, so you have to go through a full KYC AML. So, oh wow. Yeah. You should have BISC. So BISC can be run anywhere, but BISC yes, the volume in certain areas will definitely be lower than others for sure. Man, very jealous right now.
Just to explain and to translate for all those people who don't consume 10 hours of Bitcoin podcasts every day, BISC is a Bitcoin decentralized exchange, kind of like BitTorrent, where you download some software. So I'll put it in the show notes, bisq.network, B-I-S-Q. You download the software, kind of like BitTorrent. And then when you install the software and run it, it finds all the other peers and other people running that software around the world. And then it sort of sets up this decentralized exchange marketplace, sort of like a hodl or a local Bitcoins, but it's not on a centralized website. It's actually decentralized. Yeah. All right. What do you think of the recent regulations? Like Faris and I recently talked on the podcast, talking about, the sort of the death of buying non-KYC Bitcoin and perhaps You'll be able to transfer money from a bank account to Binance, Coinbase, whatever, but you won't be able to withdraw it. Like, what do you think? Where is all this regulation heading, do you think?
Yeah. So do you guys watch Citadel Dispatch? Matt Odell's show?
Yep.
Cool. So I would tell people there's a really good episode with Matt and then an attorney, Bitcoin attorney from the US. His name's Raphael. And so I'd watch that episode about, I can't think of the title right now, but if you look up Matt Odell and Raphael, Bitcoin lawyer, it'll pop up. They had a good conversation about it. And then, yeah, thoughts just across the board. I am still very much in the camp that Bitcoin is incorruptible. I'm very much in the camp that just it's like unstoppable. I don't know, is kind of cheesy, like when you say that, but I'm trying to put more words on it. And it's that I don't believe the establishment can stop it. I don't believe the establishment can stop it. And I don't believe I believe everyone holding Bitcoin, regardless of the exchange that they bought it from, is pushing towards a future that there is no fiat. And a future with no fiat makes politics less relevant, and it makes the data capture of these exchanges less relevant. And so I think that is because when Bitcoiners become more powerful than the rulers who are choosing to try to institute control, that's, I think, when the kind of prosperous future can begin and the true renaissance can begin. And so I am still very much in this camp of we are going to see a renaissance in our lifetime. So that's one angle to tackle it on. And then another angle to tackle it on is if you're talking about, and again, I'm speaking mostly from a US perspective because that's what I have the most eyes on. If you're talking straight up from just kind of inside baseball, American politics land, the Bitcoin education is spreading inside the halls of power every single day. And so it is. And the leaders who are advocates of sound money and of Bitcoin, their talking points are also getting better every single day. And so if we're talking about where we are right now compared to where we were 12 months ago, as far as people in places of power being Bitcoiners, I actually believe we are a step forward. And so in the just kind of US influence game, I do believe Bitcoiners are more influential than they were 12 months ago. And I think just kind of from the history of just kind of how US politics works, that trajectory makes me, cautiously optimistic for just Bitcoin continuing to be a thing. One final point is that, and this is what Raphael said in that Citadel Dispatch show, he just said, the game theory of exchanges fully not allowing withdrawals, I don't think that's in their incentives. I understand there are exchanges like Robinhood that don't currently let you withdraw, but they are on record of saying they're working on withdrawals, and we keep need to pinging them on that. But I don't believe so. Increased reporting, and decreased daily limits, and all those things that's always going to be on this seesaw. But as far as exchanges fully not allowing withdrawals, I do believe that exchanges just Strike and Cash App and kind of are always going to have the pressure on of widening the gates.
I actually do think that it's actually possible that it happens, but you know what? It doesn't matter, Brian, because you just buy Bitcoin and you get the hell off the exchange within a couple of minutes, and it doesn't matter.
Yep. And there are still exchanges that the purchase is the withdrawal. And so that's the other thing too, that I just believe that I think the amount of places where you can get Bitcoin is also increasing. every single day, every single day. And so that is positive. That's super positive.
Yeah, and one thing we're finding, like, because we do work, also with a lot of noobs coming into the space, and for them just using legacy banking services, like, last week I tried to buy a little bit myself, and I've got two separate credit debit cards I tried to use, which I've used in the past. Wouldn't let me use them on both Binance and Bitstamp. Same thing with a friend in South Africa. Apparently the Reserve Bank's not letting you buy them there. And I actually think if you make it harder for people to buy this, they're going to try and find other ways. And that's just going to lead to a price squeeze. I see the price just going up and up because what you're doing is attempting to restrict supply. And the supply being people trying to buy Bitcoin. And if demand is the same, then it's just going to lead to the price going up because people will just, try and find ways to getting in. So it's good to hear that there are more on ramps in the Bitcoin, and that's something that we have to keep doing. Is just keep saying, okay, if this doesn't work, go here. Because 2 years ago, people go, oh, bank said no, so I won't. And I was like, well, no, I really want to.
Definitely. No. And look, and that's happened to me too in the past week. And I even just got a text last night of, hey dude, it's still really hard. Like why is my debit card getting declined on this app that I've been using? And you have to really want it. No. And I think Bitcoiners totally having multiple exchanges, having multiple paths for getting Bitcoin is definitely something that should be part of your just accumulation strategy. It has to be.
Everything is just so incredibly bullish at the moment. I mean, I'm sometimes living in a fairy tale. It's like you hear about people having troubles trying to buy Bitcoin. There's massive demand for it. The supply, what are we at now? 18.5 million out of 21 million or something, whatever it is. Countries are adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. Regulation is said, like with a lot of the US senators, like Senator Lumens. It's just, it's incredibly bullish, everything. And a lot of people look at the daily price and, I've got a couple of friends here who day trade and, oh my God, Bitcoin's gone down $500. I'm like, dude, just chill out. Like, seriously, like stop with this FOMOing in and out. Everything's just super bullish. It really is.
I agree. I've never been I just feel good. I feel good. I just wake up every day and I sit at this desk with a clear head and I get to talk to people just across all these different sites. And then I see people in person. It's probably been 2 years of talking to a Bitcoiner in person once a week at least. And so the last 2 years have just been an incredible run of just mentally being in a great place. My family is adopting Bitcoin and the country's adopting Bitcoin. It's cool. Feels good.
What excites you at the moment about Bitcoin? Like, are there any projects on your radar?
Yeah. So I actually am. Yeah, I'm excited about the liquid discrete log contracts, which kind of gets in I'm excited about. I am a really big fan of what HODL HODL Lending was doing. And then I'm also a fan of Atomic Finance and what they're building. And I also just have a clearer picture in my head of the use cases for Lightning and the use cases for Liquid. And I like the way that using Liquid feels like using on-chain Bitcoin, and then it just moves faster. And so the paradigm of picking up a Liquid wallet, once you're inside the paradigm of picking up a on-chain Bitcoin wallet, is, I think, pretty easy to adapt to. And I think all the conversations around just kind of Bitcoin layers are getting better and better. And then I'm also so that would be one area. And then the second area is I'm still just very excited about the circular economy and like watching small businesses adopt BTC Pay Server. I do think that is happening. And so I still see even more and more, I still see like little restaurants popping up and like, tweeting their signs of like, we take Bitcoin. And so, yeah, it'd be like Liquid would probably be my like technical answer. And then my like social answer would just be meetups spreading and small business adoption spreading.
You mentioned BTC Pay Server a couple of times. Tell us, what is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so BTC Pay Server is free and open source payment processor that allows you to accept Bitcoin, Lightning, and Liquid. And again, yeah, free and open source. And so you pick whatever deployment method you want. If you want to run it on your own Raspberry Pi, you can. If you want to pick a cloud provider, I use Lunanode. You can pick that cloud provider and launch it on there. And then what's also great about it is you can run multiple stores. And so something that I work through is if you are running a local meetup and you're out there talking to people, and you get that cafe, to try a few test transactions on just a mobile wallet, and then you want to take them to the next level and kind of put BTC Pay Server on their point of sale system, you totally can do that. And so that's what I like most about it. And then, yeah, it doesn't rip any fees, and the Bitcoin is fully in possession of the person all the time.
Yeah. So PSA to everyone, if you're a merchant wanting to accept Bitcoin, definitely have a look at BTC Pay Server. Do not use, under any circumstances, do not use BitPay. I'll say that. I don't care if they want to be a sponsor. Don't use BitPay.
Totally. No, totally. I agree with that.
If we're Bitcoiners, I think our only sponsors are going to be drugs and weapons.
True.
And you have the international audience. So you gotta appeal to everyone. You guys go. Tell me more about how's the last year been going and the site and things. What are the main things that new people are kind of asking?
Yeah, it's funny. So when we first started Coin Compass, we were ahead of the curve. So we had people coming up to us saying, buy Bitcoin for me. Like, well, no, we want to teach you about it. Like, I don't care about knowing about it. I just want you to buy it for me. I just want to take the risk, and private keys, don't even know about that. We're now finding people go, okay, I do want to understand this thing. So that's been interesting in that, yeah, we were ahead of the curve as an educational consultant, but now it's like people go, okay, I do want to understand what's going on. I actually don't believe that's just Bitcoin related. I think that's macroeconomics. Feel like something strange is going on in the world. People are starting to realize we have these central bankers, and these policies might not be great. Yeah. So I think it's just people opening up that, mental parachute financially and economically, which is why people go, maybe I should understand something else as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just add on to that, I'd add self-custody to that. So I have a couple of personal experiences of people who, they were gold bugs, and they're elderly people, and they only want to buy gold. But as soon as the Bitcoin price went up, they bought Bitcoin. But then after that, they're kind of like, well, what can I do with it? I want to withdraw it. Where do I store it? I don't trust the exchange. I don't trust the government. I don't trust this, which is healthy. And I've helped them buy hardware wallets. And so for me, that's really encouraging that people want to actually take self-custody. Yep.
Totally. That is really good.
Yeah, and a lot of it depends as well on your, country jurisdiction. Like when Gordon says gold bug, I mean, he's referring to friends and clients in Southeast Asia where they truly are gold bugs, and where their fiat currency is something they do not trust and can actually see that depreciation. That is something we're going to start picking up in the West. And I mean, I recently wrote about this. We saw the Goldman Sachs commodity index go up 50% in 12 months. Now that's 22 commodities, which is the basis for everything you buy. And yet purchasing power has only got up 10%. So people are going to start waking up to, yes, something is amiss here when everyday life is becoming too difficult. There must be a plan B.
Totally. So stay on that. What's the housing market like where you guys are too?
Oh, New Zealand, Australia is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Astronomical. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much same here as well. One other thing I have noticed also, and this isn't such a negative thing, because I think in the long run, people will sort of come around. A lot of people are being distracted. A lot of new people into Bitcoin are being distracted with other cryptos, and that's nothing new. That's always happened. But especially with this NFT craze. So my neighbor, who I've been talking about Bitcoin for the last year, went straight onto Binance, bought Bitcoin, and then straight away bought some NFTs and other stuff with Ethereum or whatever. Doesn't have any Bitcoin, has, $5,000 worth of NFTs, whatever. And you're sort of on that, well, should I let them touch the stove and burn themselves and they lose money, or should I try and, educate them? I mean, I tried to educate them, but yeah, I think eventually people will come around. But unfortunately, some people just need that sort of lesson. I mean, I played with all the old coins. I admit I bought some ICOs and they were crap. And I made a little bit of money, lost some money, but eventually I came back to Bitcoin because, as you said, Brian, fundamentals don't change. I think all Bitcoin, as we went through that Austrian economics phase, you go down the rabbit hole. And I know Faris has that background, but I don't. And so you learn about these things. You learn about what's the difference between money and currency. What is a store of value? What's a method of payment? And you have a play with all this stuff. And I think that's what people are doing at the moment. They see Bitcoin, okay, it's going up a little bit, but this random coin, blah, 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 that I've never heard of has gone up 5,000%. Let me tell you about it. This is how you invest in it. And that's happening a lot.
And a big part of that is people still have this perception that I can't afford to buy a Bitcoin. And we have to explain, you can buy $20 worth, stacking sats. That's why every show we finish with just stack sats. So, and that's still a big, misperception after buying entire Bitcoin.
Yep. No, same. We had someone came to Meetup last night and she just found us on Meetup. And so we just asked her, hey, where are you at? What do you like about it? And same first questions were just, her just first questions were, what's the goal? Like, how do you do it? And I'm just like, I'm just always in accumulation mode. Like my goal is to replace fiat money. And I didn't come out of a hardcore Austrian background either. It was the same thing of I bought altcoins, and just the more that you think about like fix the money, fix the world. And you actually learn more about Bitcoin by studying the legacy world than you do by just like diving into the details of Bitcoin and just understanding the fact that you can do something so positive for yourself personally and so positive for the greater society also. There's nothing else in the world that I've been able to come across where you can just completely achieve both of those things at the exact same time with such direct focus.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, when people start to be it's the opportunity cost of owning things besides Bitcoin is too high. The opportunity cost is too high. So even if your thesis is halfway decent on whatever idea or concept you're chasing down, it's the opportunity cost of what you're not doing during this transitionary time in history. That's where the disconnect is.
No, I couldn't agree more. And when I explained Bitcoin at our for an hour presentation, half of what I'm doing is explaining the gold standard and how fiat currency works. And then when people understand, that's the system we're in now, then they do truly appreciate something like Bitcoin. Yep.
Totally.
So forgetting price, what's happening with Bitcoin in 5 years' time?
I think it's just one more hearts and minds. I think people have moved on. I think a lot about that scene in Star Wars when he's trying to buy the little race pod and the merchant guy goes, the Republic credits are not accepted here. And I'm envisioning that in my head, and I'm envisioning more and more people saying that. They're just, I don't accept the Republic credits. So and he's like, I need something more real. He says that in the show. And so that's what I think. I think that's happening hour by hour.
Every sci-fi show has that, doesn't it? It has the galactic, whatever it is, gold or coins or whatever. And then as you go further away from the system into the sort of the anarchy, I don't want that. Give me something real, as you said. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. Well, I'm done, Faris. Do you want to, Brian, is there anything you want to get off your chest, have a rant?
I think
someone other than Gordon have a rant on this show.
Sure. Yeah. I said it a few times, different places. My whole expectations have just been really reset. I'm still very optimistic, and I'm still very I believe that the Renaissance is happening currently right now, and I believe that it is happening live. I don't love the phrase "we're so early" because I think that breeds passiveness. And I have been really trying to just lead a very actively moving myself into Bitcoin standard and like pushing my brain to just really think in that way. And so when like last year, when the whole like Tesla put it on their balance sheet and like things like that, I got very excited about that. I thought that these were two just like anti-establishment movements were joining together and kind of like moving up. I felt like we were leveling up. I felt like we were clicking through society. And I went all gung ho. I was like researching Powerwalls. I was researching solar panels, like all these things. I wanted to join like the local Tesla meetup and just continue to talk and like bridge these like communities together. And so it honestly really bummed me out when a lot of that stuff got walked back and a lot of kind of the, I don't know, BlackRock or whoever won, just kind of the internal narrative of just what was going on. That super bummed me out. And so I kind of just took some time to just think about that. And it's not that I was putting them on the pedestal as like a hero or whatever. It just really was, wow, like we are clicking forward, like we're exiting and we're clicking forward. Things are happening. This is awesome. And so through watching all that get walked back, it's been very like preparing myself for long game more, but preparing myself for long game with just the healthy dose of just optimism and awareness is just, all of the main things that are at the top of my head right now are just like I'm optimistic, but also aware, but I'm also confident. And so it's just a mix. It's just a mix of all of that stuff. And it's more of like just a disappointment of, I just want more people to join the path, more people to join the path.
Yeah, and there are many different ways to join the path. I was sort of like you, Brian. Back in the day, I was sort of trying to convince local businesses to take Bitcoin or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then not that it's a bad idea, but then I kind of came to the realization, well, it doesn't really make sense for some of these businesses to accept Bitcoin because no one's going to pay for, fish and chips with their Bitcoin. It would be better for me to spend my time and energy getting individuals into Bitcoin. And I would rather an individual buy Bitcoin, get it off the exchange, get into hardware wallet and be a self-custodian than having 10 local businesses accept Bitcoin, because they'll probably just convert it straight back into fiat anyway. So I shifted my priorities.
Totally. And the one part about that is I'm still trying to figure out how to crack this nut of like, but I really have a heart for, and you do too, like small business owners themselves as the individual. And it's like, dude, you're on the hamster wheel every day. And so I understand when I just like grab you, it's just like any type of sales. Like we're not hitting like the market and the message is like not matching. You're busy, like running the day-to-day, totally understand. But if you just like listen for a few minutes and like understand the fiat hamster wheel is the reason why you're stressed out and the reason why the margins are closing and the reasons why your workers are disenfranchised and the reason why all these things, and just kind of relax for a minute and just hear there's broader economic tectonic plates that are happening that no amount of small business sweat equity, we can do it like grit can fix. And so you need to just like reevaluate for a minute and just kind of think about that. And so if that means you do the payment processor 18 months from now or 24 months from now, terrific, honestly, terrific. But you as like an entrepreneur brain, you already are respected in the community because you run a business, which is a very respectable thing to do. But we need like capturing those brains are just very valuable. And so capturing all brains are valuable, but capturing brains of influence are also like valuable. And so, yeah, it's just such a unique thing.
Absolutely. And I have a very, very small consulting job that as of a couple of months ago, they are paying me in Bitcoin. And it's a really small amount. It's like $100 a month or something. But it's awesome. I am essentially getting KYC-free Bitcoin. I'm not spending it. It's kind of like a savings thing. And I'm like, I want to get more people to pay me in Bitcoin. And I'm willing to give them a huge discount to do that. So getting paid in Bitcoin is just the ultimate. It really is. Yeah,
for sure. Easily. No, it's top of the funnel. Like top of the funnel for getting people off the old world is getting them paid in the new currency.
Faris is still waking up. I'm about to go to bed. Do you want to send us out? Give us some concluding thoughts or anything?
Yeah. So look me up on Twitter. My DMs are open all the time at Brain Harrington. And then, yeah, if you're interested in Choice App and you are in the U.S. retirement system, go to choiceapp.io. And honestly, on the DMs part, look, if you're watching and you have questions about Bitcoin, message me and we can talk about it. And then, yeah, look, super thankful for what you guys do and continue pounding the pavement and just giving people good info.
Thanks, Brian. Now, for people listening, Brian, give them your handle on Twitter, please.
Yeah, Brain Harrington. Brain like in your head, Harrington.
Cool. Yeah, and we will link everything there as well.
Sweet.
Cool. It's been a real pleasure, Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Brian. And we usually say to guests, like, I'll see you in 6 months or whatever that, but we've decided to do it by price. So Faris, what do you reckon?
Perfect.
We'll see Brian at 100,000 US.
Yeah, we've got a few people lined up for 100K. Let's get Brian in before everyone else. Let's make it 96.
Yeah, I've got some. I might have some stop losses about then. So yeah, okay, 96, perfect.
Love it, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching or listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share so we can spread this educational content to others like yourself. Visit bitcoinbasics.help.
Disclaimer. Any content provided by CoinCompass is for educational and informational purposes only and is not investment, legal, tax, or any other professional advice. A qualified professional should be consulted before making any financial decisions. CoinCompass will at times recommend certain products, services, and technologies, but these are opinions based upon our own or podcast guests' experience and not endorsements. We take no liability for out-of-date or inaccurate information, software bugs, manufacturing errors, technology misuse, or issues involving third parties. Visit coincompass.com for more information and please contact us.